YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California. It's Bout That Life podcast with your host, Coach C. Collins and Coach MJ.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, welcome to Bout That Life podcast. I'm Coach C. Collins.
Coach MJ, GGT.
And we are here to talk about basketball, life, and everything in between. Again, thank you for those who are following and supporting. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate your help. If you are looking at if you get the chance to look at us on YouTube, it's like a 70 to 80% chance you have not subscribed. So if you do hit that subscribe button, we really appreciate it. If you're listening to us right now, probably the same percentage. We would appreciate if you hit that follow button. One small click for you helps us out big time. And me and Mark are really pushing and trying to keep pushing out good content for you guys. So we really appreciate it if you can back us up at all. But with that being said, I want to get right to the episode because we have another great guest. We're continuing with Jessup January. And, we're at the end of January now, right? And that's some good news. We made it through the first month of 2021.
Amen.
Right. Things are still intact despite some of the craziness going on. And honestly, I want to say people are actually, at least, and to be fair, we're in California. I do got to keep that in mind. California is a little different, but it does seem like people are starting to chill out a little more and more.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. You go to certain pockets, it's still a little too much. But I know this weekend was good. It was good for us to see. So with that being said, with Jessup January, we have another great guest, a cool buddy of mine, gotten to know him because he's also a coach in my AAU club for YBA, Coach Bryce Jacobson. I'm going to basically let you, because I'm going to have your itinerary and all that good stuff when we're putting on our site, but I'll let you give us a brief, quick version of who you are and what brought you here, and you let us know.
All right. Bryce Jacobson I'm a new college coach. I'm in my third year at the college level, 8th year coach in total. Originally from small town Palmer, Alaska. It's if you're from Alaska, it's about a 45-minute drive north of Anchorage. So I was having a fun commute for a few years, trying to get through school and trying to advance the coaching career kind of thing. And so this is year 2 down here in California. I managed to escape the cold, which is every Alaskan's dream. And
how's your winter been compared to?
The only snow I saw was driving through the pass coming through Nevada after we went up to Idaho. So I'm really thankful for that. I had enough of it my first 29 years.
Nice, man. All right. Well, no, I want to get into it. Well, first, let me give you some applause, man. Because we're happy to have you here. You know that. Me and the audience, we're happy to have you here, man.
Yes, sir.
And for you guys listening, the biggest thing I love about this show is we just love to learn and love to hear people's stories because, basketball is kind of a universal language for us, right? Yeah. And so it's always great to learn. First thing I want to just straight up ask you is, how's the season at Jessup going for the men's side? And, obviously we talked to all the coaches on the women's side. So why don't you let us know how that's going?
Definitely unusual. From the very start of the year, having to work out in like pods, we can't even have the whole team together, and we've had to quarantine 2 different 2-week periods throughout the season with guys having positive tests, things like that. During November, we were trying to schedule games, try to have it as much of a normal season as possible, but our first 5 or 6 games all fell through for one reason, mostly pertaining to COVID reasons. Right. Then, December, late November, December rolled around, and all the Division I started hitting us up.
Hey.
Wow. So we were fortunate enough to get 5 Division I games on our schedule this year. We would have had 8, except for we got quarantined for 2 weeks in December.
Very cool.
Which was obviously a great experience for our guys. Getting to travel a little bit, but getting to go play
in their arenas and all that
big
stuff.
empty stadiums,
right?
But playing against that next level, obviously our guys all, at least at some point in their life, probably wanted to play Division I. Otherwise, what are they doing playing basketball?
Of course.
But to get a chance to go head to head with some of those teams and some good teams. We played Fresno State, we played University of Nevada, which are legit mid-major programs.
Yeah.
And then since then it's been stop and go. You know, a lot of hurry up and wait. We've had 5 of our first 7 conference games have been postponed.
Wow.
That's tough.
I know you told me, you said, how many times did you get tested? Wait, like over 30? What?
The Division Ones were forcing us to, because it's a Division One policy, you have to test 3 times the week leading up to a game.
Damn. Crazy, bro.
And then there's also like every time we were coming back from a quarantine, we had to go get tested. When we come back from our Christmas break, you have to go get tested. Like when we were playing Simpson, and some of the NAIAs were requiring testing. So I think I've had 23 or 24 tests. They've counted every brain cell I have left in my brain. And, you know, fortunately, we probably won't have to test again if everything goes well until we make it to the national tournament. Next time we would have to test now. So.
Well, that's good. At least y'all made it through. I mean, it sounds like you guys, just like on the women's side, you're trying to maneuver it and deal with it the best way you can. So that, I mean, overall, that's good. And for those who are listening, you know, and just might be listening for the first time, William Jessup is an NAI school. And again, I got to assume there are some people that have no clue what the hell we're talking about. But just so you guys understand, in collegiate basketball, there's the NCAA and there's the NAIA, both, you know, college divisions, you know, and they have tiers of schools and rankings and all that good stuff. But it's just a NAI, because I was an NAI guy.
I played at William Penn University.
Yeah, just so you guys understand, like some of the best players, some Hall of Famers that you guys, if you look at their college career, Scottie Pippen, of course, always comes to mind, or Dennis Rodman. They were NAI guys.
Earl the Pearl.
Yeah, so, you know, for some of you parents and kids listening, don't exclude that division. Just a suggestion for you guys, because, of course, everybody's D1 until they go JC. That's just how I look at it. Like, man, I love what Ted said that time. Never don't take a phone call, right? So we always try to feed you guys information and some advice. So, Bryce, what brought you to Jessup? I mean, what brought you to California, Jessup? How'd your path lead here?
I mean, I didn't really choose the coaching life, to be honest. Like, the coaching life kind of chose me.
Nice.
You know, I don't know how far you want me to go back. You know, this is year 7 or 8. And basically what had happened, I played a couple years of junior college ball for my coach, who I work for now here at Jessup, Lance Von Vogt. I was out of basketball for a couple years. I spent a year working at a panel plant. You know, we talked about, I worked in negative 30-degree temperature, working nights outside on forklifts, stacking walls and things like that.
In Alaska,
working nights outside. You know, I was back in school for a couple of years, but I wasn't, you know, coaching or playing or anything. And then I was living with a buddy of mine in Anchorage, Alaska. And, you know, he got engaged. It's kind of like, you know, when our lease ends, go do your married people thing. And I moved out back to Palmer, where I'm from. Didn't even plan on staying. Like, I didn't unpack my bags, none of that. And, you know, it was really my mother, who was a middle school teacher, calls me and she goes, hey, you know, they need an 8th grade basketball coach at the middle school. You make a couple $1,000. The season's like, you know, September to like November, and I was poor, so I couldn't say no to, you know, $3,500 for an 8-week season of coaching basketball. And, you know, I just caught the bug. You know, when I started coaching, the next thing I knew, the high school coach was calling, asked if I would come help out. The kids asked me to do a club team, and it turned into, you know, 4 years of basically being a full-time student, working weekends at Planet Fitness, and then coaching 2 school teams and a club team. So going September to May coaching.
Nice.
And, you know, once I got in the mix, it was just, it was a passion, and it just grew. And I figured this is what I wanted to do for the rest of, you know, how long I can.
Very cool.
That's dope.
And it's good. I mean, you're a young coach and you're starting your path off.
Very
so,
young.
you know, you're going to, you know, the journey. I'm gonna try to say it the nice way. The journey, and all that you have to go through. But more props to you, man. You've seen, you know, obviously helping out at the AAU level, and you've seen kind of what the ins and outs of the club here, and just how AAU basketball works in general. What's your biggest takeaway from like AAU and being a college coach? I mean, what's your overall assessment of it all?
Well, I mean, obviously, I helped out, you know, coaching with YBA, but I do a lot of going to the AAU events, recruiting and stuff too. And, I see a wide range of when I look at teams like I was watching Capital Christian yesterday, for instance, and they had a team that they had in playing, and the team they were playing, I can't remember who they were, but it's like one team is running stuff, and they have some structure to their defense, and their coach is actually coaching, and then I look at the other team, and their coach is like sitting there eating on the bench basically, and like, and just kind of like puts the kids out there. It doesn't really like hold them accountable, and so what I see is like a wide range of like, you see programs, AAU programs that really do things the right way, that are really invested in their kids, that are really trying to teach their kids things they're going to translate as they go back to their high school teams or college teams. And then I see the other side of things that makes me cringe, honestly, just to see it.
Well, I'm glad you talk about it, because I want to talk about that a little bit, because again, me and Mark talk about it, and we have parents, and we have parents that we have relationship with, and kids we have relationships, and we can tell, I can tell, me, you've heard me, I tell them in blue in the face, like, college coaches are looking at this. They're looking 100%. At your body language. They're looking at, are you coachable, or do you have IQ, like things like, but of course you take them to a typical courtside, they don't, it's just like they think we are so far removed, we have no clue what we're talking about. So that's why I'm glad I have someone who is a college coach, literally echoing some of the stuff me and him preach to our kids all the time, because hopefully they hear this episode and they go, oh shit, I guess it makes sense.
Well, I mean, we literally have a criteria that we've written out that we go through as we're evaluating kids. The first thing on our list is competitive spirit.
Nice.
Are you going to come in and fight for your team, fight for your teammates, fight to win games? And that competitive spirit, obviously there has to be some restraint, some self-control, but are you going to be that kind of competitor where if you're not playing, are you going to cry about it and whine about it? Are you going to get in the gym and work on the things you're good at, The second one for us is toughness, and for me, toughness is not just a physical thing. A lot of people think toughness is like elbowing people in the face, but a lot of toughness is your mental toughness. Like, how do you handle a bad call? Because, I mean, you get it at every level. Like, we don't even get great calls at the college level. You're not going to get them great at the AAU level. Yeah, true. Like, how are you going to respond to that? You're going to lose your mind and then have your game go out the window because you're thinking about everything but your game, One of the other ones for us is leadership. And especially a small university like ours, there's no hiding. Like, you're 6'7", 6'8" on the William Jessup campus. Like, there's
everybody
no hiding.
Sees you.
And are you going to be a leader on our campus? Are you going to be, I feel like athletes in general are put in a position of leadership because everybody sees you, and it kind of gives you, more of a voice. Another one for us is like adaptability, versatility. It's a huge one. And especially our program is like a lot of college programs where the only two positions that really are set position is point guard and center.
Yeah.
Everybody else, you got to be able to play 2 through 4. Even your point guard's got to play the off guard sometimes. I mean, the more versatile, the more different things you can do on the court, the more of an option you are for your coach to have you on the floor in whatever role.
I like that.
And then the last one is kind of what you were touching on, basketball IQ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I think, well, my bad. I just, you saying that, I just don't think kids, and hopefully to hear this, understand how IQ is so important. You know what I mean? Like, you tell me, would you rather take the super duper athlete, let's say 6'9", super duper athlete, dunks everything, blah blah blah, with a F- IQ, or would you maybe take the 6'5", highly, less, let's say drastically less athletic, but extremely high IQ and skilled guy? Like, I know for me, especially the way the game's nowadays, I'm going to take, at least at the college level, I'm going to take more of the skilled guys who know the game with the IQ, right?
100%, yeah. And, I mean, last year in our conference, which is the Golden State Athletic Conference, is one of the best conferences in the country for NAI. Like, we'll send 4 or 5 teams to the national tournament on average.
Nice.
And probably the second best big, we had a big who was playing at Masters, who's on the Pelicans G League team now. Like, he was obviously like that next level guy, but that's like a legacy family. Like, he could have gone D1, but his whole family goes to Masters kind of thing. The next best, like, most productive big in our league was a guy you're talking about, like 6'5", 6'6", but playing the 5. But his thing is, 1, he's really tough. 2, he's really smart. 3, he just makes good plays, doesn't make mistakes out there, and he's just solid and consistent. And, after 4 or 5 years, I think he was a senior last year, he was able to be really impactful. And he wasn't a 6'9", putting his elbow in the rim kind of guy. I don't even know if this guy could touch the rim. You know what I mean? But he could make a shot. He made the right reads. He rebounded in the, outside of his zone. He just does all those little things that allow not just him to be successful, but makes his teammates around him more successful.
Absolutely. Wow. And that just, I don't know. I just think that's something that needs to be stressed a little bit. What about you, Mark? You just rather get bunch of athletes?
No, I'm me. I'm all about skill. Like you got to be the physical stuff is the bonus to me. If you're able to be skilled and be a student of the game, then that can take you far if you're really, really skilled. So, but
I think because the biggest testament to me of like the athletic guy with no IQ who never could live up to the hype was you guys remember Anthony Bennett? That drive up. You know what I mean? He was extremely athletic, but he was kind of an undersized big. But he sucked when he got to the league because guess what? Everybody's athletic. Everybody's athletic and strong. Now you have to be a good basketball player, right? And and don't get me wrong. Hey, he made millions. You can't complain. But
there's levels,
right? You know what I mean? If you're not blessed with that type of body and athleticism, well, what do? You could still be a 6'7" guy that's really talented, but never really hit your ceiling if you don't, work the game and know the game. 100%. So that's why I just love touching on that because you're here and they need to hear it from coaches. Yep. So talking about a couple current events, Hardwood Palace opened back up. So definitely happy about that one. Placer County is back in basketball swing for the most part.
Getting there.
Yeah, right. I was I had teams in Hardwood and courtside, so I thought that was pretty cool. And just kind of you guys' thoughts on it. When I was just kind of walking around and stuff out there, I don't know if you were around at all or checked any of out, Bryce, but you've been in enough weekends, you've seen it. It just seems like people are really, really happy to be back, at Hardwood and stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
I think having sports in at least in this community, from what I could see, is helped out a lot. You guys think you see that?
Well, I mean, one of the things that this whole pandemic that a lot of people don't really talk about in the forefront is like the mental and emotional aspect of being stuck in your house, like not being able to do the things you love. And it's not just for basketball, it's for everybody. Everybody across the country who likes to do anything outside their house, which is everybody, is struggling with, man, I'm just stuck here. I've watched everything on Netflix 36 times. My family, who I love to death, is driving me insane because familiarity brews contempt, and and it's one of those things that as we start to open up, and I've talked about this since even over the summer about how grateful we're going to be able to get back after it. And even for us with the disjointed kind of season that we've had to have, every time we get to play is just a huge blessing. And we see with our college guys, they're just chomping at the bit to get out there, and it drives them insane. They want scrimmage every day because we're not able to get games, you know what I mean? And I think that's going to do a lot of good for a lot of kids who maybe didn't understand that motivational level they had to get out there and work. They're going to be really grateful to have the opportunity now, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Mark? Got any thoughts on it?
No, like I said, I feel like, going into 2021, the assumption is things are going to get better. So with that being said, I'm saying everybody who has been preparing and getting ready, who need to play, or, like in the situation with, MJ, who's been on the show twice, they're out of the bubble, the Stockton campus bubble, and they're going to South Carolina, and now he has an opportunity to be seen, so that's the good thing about everything going on right now. Of course, we still don't know if there's going to be high school basketball season, but now they're letting us do the AAU, the basketball stuff again. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, moving to the next thing. Wanted to definitely give you, or here, let me give you a round of applause, Mark. He started GGT basketball AAU program, y'all. So definitely want to give congratulations.
I appreciate you. I appreciate. It's funny that you're even saying that, because we can go back in numerous shows where I'm just like, hell no, I'm not.
He was like anti-AAU, and now he literally started his AAU.
For real talk, like listening to you, I'm just like, no, I'm good with the skill development, But what's crazy about it, so yesterday was our first time. We went 1-1 yesterday, but it's it's different, bro.
Yeah, right. It
It's
is
different.
Right? It is.
It's different just being on the side. It's different. Like I said, I'm in the lab. You know, we working, building our craft, being on the sideline, the X's and O's, the momentum changes and everything. Of course, I know basketball. I watch basketball, but the hours that I spent, you know, like compared to like you two, you know, is different. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, it's a different type of leadership.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so yesterday going through that, it was I don't want to say that, okay, like, oh, I'm addicted now. Like, no, you know, because on some real shit, like, I'm still, my priority in what GGT, God Given Talent Basketball, is always going to be about the training. But one of the things that I was being smart about is to my business partner and my assistant coach, Coach G, one of my homies. He played in Mexico. After college, he played 1 year. No, he did 1 year on the South Dakota University coaching staff. Okay. So everything that he learned, he told me is still ingrained in his head. He brings that to the table. And then we also added Coach Tyler Smith. He's a high school coach at Pioneer High School. He grew up with my boy G. He coached the Woodland Warriors. You know what I'm saying? The talent in Woodland isn't that good. True. You know, so now that, you know, with the GGT thing and him helping us, both of them are the X's and O's. Like, there's no egos, you know, in what we do, because I'm with the kids every single day when it comes to the skill work. So for me, it was funny because I didn't know about this. He was like, all right, so what's the deal? Like, only one person can stand and two people got it. I was like, what you mean? You know, like,
yeah,
you know,
that's how it works.
I was like, okay.
You're gonna learn the rules fast.
Yeah. So they were like, you can just stand. You know, we'll handle the subs, the fouls, the X's. I was like, all right. I was the hype man. You know, like, let's lock up. So I was just on the sideline when we called the timeouts. G and them were just boom, boom, boom with the board. So for me, I'm just learning and I'm watching and I'm learning the term. Like, I know terminology, but it's just, like I said, it's different when I'm telling the kid how to do the jab works and the crossovers and this is what you got to do, to now we're like, okay, number 14 on the other team likes to do this, so we need to have help side here, we need to do that. So that was kind of exciting, you know what I'm saying, knowing that all these kids that I work with every single day, and this is why now I'm kind of like, the main thing why it just happened in a week. Like I said, this wasn't planned, bro. You know this. Yeah. It wasn't planned. It's just knowing that from everything I'm hearing that there might not be any high school basketball. There's kids that I work with that I know have a lot of potential. And I know that, okay, even if they might go to another AAU team or play with their high school club team, it's not, I've been with these kids for 12 months since the pandemic. And there's things that these kids do now that they weren't doing before. So my mind was like, I want to create our own narrative for right now. You know what I'm saying? And have certain kids just show out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. So yeah, man, I'm with you, man. I'm in the AAU world now, bro. It's crazy.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Splash to the coaches and team GGT basketball.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir. The biggest thing is like you know, the thing I could say to you is what the fuck? Oh my God! Get your punk ass out of here. In case y'all listening, the director of YBA, Ken G, just fucking mooned us. So that's funny. I can't wait till he hears this shit. But whatever. No.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
No, for you, the hardest. Where I would say the hardest transition is, and you might be able to speak on this too, Bryce, as a coach. You know, it's like when you're training a kid. You know, they're going against a cone, first off, more times than not. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you're watching them finish that step back, that reverse layup, that hook shot, whatever. Fuck, you're watching them finish it 10 times in a row, 20 times in a row, whatever. And they keep practicing it. Then they get to the game, and they airball it. And that's where it like irritates the fuck out of you. You're like, we just worked on that, like, you know, and that's where you have to learn how to really be patient. So because you train them, I'm telling you, because you know I train. I'm telling you, you're gonna. There's gonna be times you will find that frustration because you're like, oh my fucking God, we literally do that 2,000 times a day.
You'll start finding some gray hairs.
Right, exactly. And you just went 0 for 9 on that same thing we worked on. You know what I mean? Because the game speed, training speed, you know, pickup speed, practice speed, whatever you want, it's just nothing like game speed. And we know that because we played basketball. But I'm just saying, when you're a coach, your words have to impact the game. Right? Your words, like, have to either motivate or challenge or, you know, you have to pull some shit out of your players. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to be a big challenge for you to learn in terms of, because you have to do it on the spot.
Yeah.
Right? If they fuck up in training, or, you know, maybe let's say the first 10 minutes they're fucking up or they're being lazy or whatever, you could take them to the side, light them up a little bit, like, hey, man, get the fuck out of my gym if you're not going to put some work in. Or, you know, all right, fuck it, you're terrible today. We'll work on it tomorrow. Yeah. But you can't do that in the heart of the game. In the heart of the game. Too. Yeah, well, I'm telling you, in the heart of the game, you know, they fucking up, you sub them out, you say, okay, you got 2 minutes to get your shit together, and you're going right back in. Like, you know what I mean? So you'll see, but congratulations on all
man, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. I'm still
good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to talk about my kids, my 16U kids. They're in Phoenix. I just want to give a shout out to them. They're doing the Made Hoops event. So, you know my guy Jaden, Matt, Trevor, Cab, those guys.
You can actually do things in Arizona.
Yeah, I know, right? You really can. Like, so, you know, shout out to them. From what I've seen, the Made Hoops tournament is going well. It's giving a lot of kids exposure. So, you know, that I'm all about
That's dope.
Giving the kids exposure, man. And then my 16U team, my backup guard, who was basically my starting guard, Elijah. You know Elijah from Bandon. He dropped like 30. He dropped like 30 both games. He was
both
killing,
games.
Yeah, but he was killing it. He's tough, man. He's a little defensive Pat Bev, and you know he was out there getting buckets. So I was proud of him for that.
Dope.
You know, I had my 17U went 1-1. We lost to the Reno Irish, which is a Reno team coached by Bill Ballinger. They play really hard. They just outworked the shit out of us. That's just really what it came down to. But you know, my bigs played well. So, you know, just trying to get the positive. My guards need to step up. They fucking got cooked, but they need to step up. 14U did good. They won their games. I just came when I came. That was my eighth grade championship. They won that game. So good on them. My sixth grade. My sixth grade went 1-1.
Yesterday?
Today.
Oh, today.
Today. I coached this morning.
God bless you for coaching sixth grade. That's tough.
It is definitely tough, right?
I've been there, and it's a different world than like the level I coach at now.
Yeah, you got to be really patient. Really patient. I accept I'm going to have about 15 turnovers, about 20 missed layups,
and about a 15-second period you can talk before they just zone out.
Exactly. Like I got to do everything in short, angry bursts, and I can't curse because they're not old enough for that yet. So I gotta go. You just make the layup, please. You know, you got to do things like that. So that's always fun. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about before we get to respectfully disrespectful was just my buddy Matt Johnson. He has an AAU program that he formed too. That's really funny because this is his second week for his program called the Lions. Okay. They went 1-1 last week, but they won the championship this week. So shout out to you, Matt, and your team because. You remember that was the game we were watching with Luca and Matt
with the white jerseys.
With
the black team with the black jerseys.
So, shout out to you, Matt, man. Congratulations, man. I know it's always good to kind of get that first championship as a team, club, whatever, off your back. So, you know, congratulations with you there. Respectfully disrespectful. So, wanted to talk about some funny shit that happened, and you guys can add your color commentary. Much appreciated. So we played a team called the Sacramento Warriors, my 16U, and all my starters, most of my starters besides Benny were gone. And it was my second unit guys. I was like, fuck it, we're going to play. I don't care. And
get them out there.
Exactly. And the Sacramento Warriors team, we were beating them by 40. And we weren't, you know, I stopped pressing, like, once we were at 20, you know, the respectful things to do. I told the boys just, hey, don't make fun of them or nothing. Just play great basketball. And that's what my boys do. They play great competitive basketball. John had a couple dunks, all that good stuff. Well, then the coach, with 2.5 minutes left, starts telling his boys to foul and try to hurt my boys.
Oh, hell no.
So if anybody hears this and y'all want to pass the message to them, that's some pretty low-class shit, bro. And I'm saying it to you. So if you want to talk about it, come on my show, let's talk about it. But that's some low-class shit, bro. Like, you telling your kids to try to hurt my kids just because they're winning. Like, I don't see the point of that. I've taken my L's just like anybody else. I just got blown out today by 50. They just beat the shit out of my sixth grade team.
Hey, I had a team get beat by 50 by Dyshawn Nix's team. So
See what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure you didn't tell your boys, hey, try to fucking take his ACL out. Like,
you would have taken my little white boys out.
So that's literally what this dude was like saying. I was like, come on, man. So, so for the coaches or anybody listening out there, try to do better. That's not okay to do.
So am I gonna be? Is that what I'm gonna be experiencing, man?
Yeah,
that's gonna be happening, man.
Yeah, you're gonna have these stories. You're gonna have in the AAU world. You're gonna have these stories. I mean, luckily in Bryce's world, typically, I would like to think most college coaches aren't telling people to fuck each other up. But.
Well, I mean, obviously, our level, there's a certain standard you got to hold yourself to. I mean, to say it's your job, there's a lot of eyes on you, things like that. But, my take really on it, and this, I don't care if I'm coaching, third grade or pro guys. Like, to me, my main job is how am I going to help these guys become the best versions of themselves?
Yes. Exactly.
Right? Like, if all I do, and I tell every recruit I talk to coming up to Jessup, I tell them, if the only thing I do when you come here is teach you how to play basketball, I failed you. And I want you to call me out on that, Yeah. And if that's what you're doing with your team, like, part of sports is learning how to deal with adversity and deal with failure.
Yes. Yep.
How do you handle it? Because then it comes into life. You start a business, it doesn't work out. You're just going to lose your mind and act a fool and be irresponsible. So telling your kids to do that in that situation, and obviously I wasn't there, I didn't witness it, but you need to take that time. Those big losses are just as much of a teachable moment for kids as any other time. The last 3 minutes of the game, call your kids in a timeout and be like, hey, how are we going to finish this? We gonna act a fool? Are we gonna give up, or are we gonna try to win the last 3 minutes? We're not gonna win the game, but try to win the last 3 minutes. Try to run our stuff. Can we execute one of our plays, please? Can we get a rotation on? Like, start focusing on your details and developing your kids, because then kids will learn when that adversity hits. Well, I just need to focus on my work. I need to focus on the things I can control, not the scoreboard that's out of reach and such. Now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Good point.
No, that's And that's just something I wanted to talk. Oh well, that's a big thing I wanted to talk about too, for sure, because we as coaches, trainers, whatever, leaders, we got to, like you said, we got to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that we're helping these young men and women, do better in life. So
lead by example.
Yeah. So I don't know your name, sir, but maybe reassess and rethink that next time when you're in those situations. The other thing I want to talk about, it was an interesting situation with my sixth grade today. Two of the players that played for my sixth grade were on the opposing team when I got there.
What?
Right, and
you didn't know?
I didn't know.
Free agency's crazy these days.
What? I didn't know they were going to play against me. I mean, I knew that was a possibility of that being their secondary team. Well, one of them I knew, not the other one. One I had no idea. But I think, and again, this is just my opinion, because again, with AAU, kids are going to play for multiple teams. It's just going to happen, and that's okay. I think two things should happen. One, you should tell the coach who's the priority team, right? Yeah. Just to be fair to the coach, say, I want to play for you, but this is kind of my priority team. But when I have an opportunity, I definitely want to play with you guys too. Yeah. Cool, fine. Let them know that. But then two, this is just what I think and what I believe, and I'm just curious what you two guys' perspective on it. Because if a player and their two teams are playing each other, I prefer that kid just don't play, because it sends a subconscious message either way. You know what I'm saying? If they play for me, then that team feels like, well, fuck you. You think we're not as good, and then vice versa. You know what I mean? Plus, the kid knows both game plans. He knows both plays. He knows, you know what I mean? It makes that kid and I had that happen in terms of, so for my eighth grade, my best eighth grade player, Muhammad, we played his, at the time, the team he was alternately playing for called Crossover. And he came to me and said, and I thought this was very mature to hear this from a 14-year-old, but he said, Coach, I'm just not going to play. Yeah. And I was like, why? Dope. He was like, because I don't want to be in the middle, and so what I did was I set him up with one of our other YBA teams, so we still got games. So I was like, I said, I'll put you on. Well, I think I had him play with Coach Robinson or something. And he still got to play plenty of basketball because he wanted to play, of course. But I like that his approach was like, I'm just not going to go either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's dope.
I mean, that's what I was saying. What do you guys think? I just think that's what most kids should do. If you're on two teams, that's cool. But if your two teams are about to play each other, maybe you should just sit that one out. That one game anyway.
Well, communication. I mean, at the end of because even with us right now, like I got a couple kids, you know, before I even did the AAU thing that they play with you, you know what I'm saying? And one thing that has to be done is the communication. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I agree with you. Like, if you are playing with two other teams, there should be a priority team, and you should be communicating that with both coaches. So that's something that I definitely believe. Because, like, if you're just going to, you know, for you to say that one kid, that your 14-year-old was able to come to you and be like, hey, coach, I'm good. I feel like most kids in that situation would just be like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to play.
Most of them would. That's why I was very impressed. Muhammad very much impressed me when he did that. What do you think, Bryce?
Well, I think it's like a life skill. And I told you guys, you know, I spent 4 or 5 years away from basketball. So I was out in the working world doing things. And like when you're going to leave a job, right, you're supposed to give a 2 weeks notice. Right? You're supposed to communicate with your boss. Or like when I was coaching and working, I had communicated very clearly to my boss, like, hey, you know, basketball is what I'm doing with my life. Like, this is my priority. There's going to be days I'm going to miss work because I'm going to be, you know, traveling, you know, because our conference for our high school had a 6-hour road trip for a conference game. We had to fly to a team for a conference game. I was coaching high school. You know, and, you know, the big thing was just communicating. And we have the same thing at college level. There's guys who transfer and bounce all over the place, right? The big thing is communicate. And I encourage a kid, like, first communicate that you're even thinking about it. Yeah. Right? Before you even get to the point where you're just showing up, hey, I'm gone. Like, because then a lot of times what will happen is you'll sit down with your coach, and if your coach really has your best interests at heart, they're just going to have a very open discussion about, you know, your role on the team, you know, where you want to go, what you want to have happen. And sometimes kids might decide to stay, they might still decide to go. But at least you're having that conversation. And then you get to the point where, coach, I've made my decision, I'm going to leave. And then, coach, today's my last day. Like that level of communication, because then you don't burn bridges. You never know what's going to happen down the road. Because one of these kids that might burn a bridge with you a year later from now, coming back, coach, I need a team to play on. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't. You've damaged my trust with you a little bit.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Trust is so easy to lose, so hard to build. Yeah, you don't want to ruin that with people. And most people like you, like you're pretty rational. Like a kid comes to you, like you were talking about, and goes, "Hey, I got this other team. I think there's a really good fit for me." Like you're not going to hold it against him if he's communicating. But when he shows up and he's playing for the other team without telling you, like that kind of rubs anybody the wrong way.
Exactly. You know, and that's the team that blew my 6th grade out by 50.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously it's not a good feeling, but it's also, I put myself in the kid's shoes. How does that feel to watch your teammate kick your ass that you literally just practiced with on Monday? Or no, Wednesday. It's probably not a great feeling. So I always try to think it, but they're good kids. So, I mean, they won't do anything, but still, I just know it's not a good feeling.
Well, and for a lot of these kids, they're good kids. They just haven't been taught yet, you know, the responsible way to go about, you know, leaving a team, leaving a job, leaving a situation.
Absolutely. The last thing was kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. So I have there's a few coaches out there that do some very low character things, in my opinion. I'm going to refrain from calling them out by name. Usually I don't. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is who they are, and that's what they choose to do. That's fine. But something that's coming up more and more that I just felt I wanted to talk about for this episode is coaches encouraging middle school kids to stay held back. If you're listening to this and you're one of those type of coaches, you're a piece of shit. I don't care if you got a problem with that or not. Why are you telling kids that unless they have life circumstances, academic circumstances, whatever, why are you telling them to stay back in the 7th and 8th grade? I mean, I'm seeing it, and it's huge in the East Coast. Again, if a family decides that is their business. I'm not going to tell anyone what and how to raise their kids. But you as a coach we have a certain level of power as a coach. We have a certain level of influence in our small little sectors as a coach. You shouldn't be telling children to reclassify 2 to 3 years in a row in order to gain advantage. Because you're pulling years away from high school, for one. Because once you turn 19, you can't play high school ball. Like, so if you're a 19-year-old sophomore, high school ball is done for you. And even still, that's there's even more life risk with that. Like if you're a 19-year-old in high school, you're now basically an adult in high school.
What's your social life?
You know what I mean?
All that
Exactly.
stuff.
Like if I'm a 19-year-old junior, and he happens to like a 16-year-old sophomore, the legality of that already is fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like you can't. So that's what I'm saying. We're not thinking beyond that. We're just thinking, I just want this really dominant 8th grade team, so I can make the next Mikey Williams and Bronny Jr. So I'm just saying this, and this is just my take. You coaches that are doing this, you got to stop, please. It's not helping the kids. It's not helping the reputation of AAU coaches. It's not helping AAU basketball, because I looked up the statistics. I wish I had the report in front of my face, maybe next episode I will, or Coaches Rise Time I'll talk about it. But it says there's no stats backing up that these holdbacks are having a huge advantage, you know what I mean, at the collegiate level or like pro level. You know what I mean? There's not the statistics actually showing it's just still the same. Like I can't remember what I was watching, but it was something that showed it. You know what I mean? That showed like, the of course there's like the rare, like the OJ Mayos. What was he, like a 20-year-old freshman? Like those are the rare circumstances. But they're saying the overall, like the kids that are being held back 2-3 years, whatever, they're not getting any advantages. They're not like these crazy D1 guys or these crazy NBA. It's not happening. So I was just curious what you guys thought about that kind of crazy stuff.
Well, I was a situation where I did 8th grade twice,
Okay.
but for me, I was younger in my grade already.
Right.
I was also really underdeveloped, and it wasn't a coach encouraging me to do it. It was
That's
something
what I'm saying.
that
was your family, right?
and it certainly wasn't an overnight decision either.
Right.
It was something that, as I was really 7th and my first 8th grade year, had been something that everyone else was shooting up, getting their growth spurt.
Yeah.
I was still like 5'4". I was like this little shrimp. I was the shortest guy on my basketball team, and I wasn't very good. Like my dad did. So in Alaska, we don't have as much AAU because it's so expensive to travel out of state, but we have club basketball or comp basketball, which is the same thing. We just don't travel out of state.
Right.
So my dad coached our club team. My mom coached the school team because she was a teacher, and I rode the bench for both of them. And it was one of those things that, we got, towards the end of my 8th grade year, my parents kind of sat me down. They were like, well, told us you want to be able to play basketball through high school. And we weren't even really thinking about college at this point. This is, mid 2000s. Things were a little bit different back then.
Right.
And for me, it was more than just the athletic side too. Some of it was the social aspect. I wanted to be able to be one of the older, more mature kids in my class.
Yeah.
Academically, I wasn't horrible, but I wasn't great either. So I was like, well, this is a chance for me to kind of get my grades back, where they should be. So there's a number of things that went into it. And then I was 18 my senior, so I wasn't like a 20-year-old senior, or whatever. I don't understand why you, as a family, why you would want your son to be held back 2 or 3 years in middle school. And as a coach, my philosophy on coaching is I believe God made me to be a servant, and coaching is the funnest way I know how to serve other people. Mm-hmm. And if you're really trying to serve the kids that play for you, you have to look at their future. I've told a lot of people when I was coaching AAU with YBA, like, and you've seen me, I'm very, very competitive.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
I broke whiteboards my first game, but my goal as an AAU coach was not to be the winningest AAU coach in history.
Right.
Like my job, and I told each of my kids, my job is to teach you how to play this game so that you can have the best basketball experience possible wherever that takes you. For some kids, it's only going to be through high school. If they get to have a great high school experience, it's worth it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. If they go to an NAIA, a JUCO, a D3 or D2, and they just get to have this amazing basketball experience where they get to be around great people, travel to great places, play in games they'll remember, make friendships they have the rest of their life. That is more important to me than having some super-powered 7th grade basketball team. Like, what are you going to do? Go run your trophy all over town? Like, look, I won the U13 championship of Northern California. Like, serve your kids. Yeah. That should be your first and really only major responsibility is how do I serve my kids, help them to have the brightest future possible on the court and off the court.
Yep. Perfect. Well, that's I like that. That's why I kind of wanted to circle on to that, because it's just something I've been hearing kind of more and more in the rumblings in the AAU
I've heard a little bit of it too.
And I just don't, again, if families make it, they make it. Or make that decision, they make it. I just don't think coaches should be encouraging it. I think that's crossing the line a little bit. But hey, everybody has their own get down. I've just learned I don't deal with it.
I saw a dude yesterday. I don't know if we have time, but
little bit.
So maybe you can explain this to me. So yesterday when we were playing, remember I'm new to this AAU world, and so one of my assistant coaches, he was telling me, and I'm not gonna say any names or whatever, but there was this dude yesterday at courtside going to like team to team, like talking to kids. And so my assistant coach was like, yo, we got to watch out for that guy. I was like, why? And so we waited till he walked by, and he's poaching kids. I was like, poaching kids? Like, what the hell? Wait, what? I was like, what are you talking about, poaching kids? He was like, oh, like he has this Adidas circuit or something, and he's trying to get this kid. And I'm like, damn, like it'd be like that. Like,
yes, it's very much like that.
They really got people like that doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why when you hear these stories, it's crazy.
I
mean, they're, you know, if someone's lucky enough to get a shoe contract or something like that. Like we have a Nike contract, like I told you, but it's not. But the brand isn't about the Nike. It's about the club and enjoying basketball. So, you know, but there are we call them handlers, right? They're the handlers.
Okay.
They come out there and try to poach your kids and coach them at these high level tournaments and stuff so they can look good and their brand can look good. And, you know, because basically like, especially the shoe contract, the high level ones, like let's say a EYBL or whatever, or an Adidas elite circuit, because there's the gold, the silver, and now there's like even a top circuit. Like they basically gonna hand this coach or this person a check and say we better get wins. We better get D1 guys and wins.
Wow.
So you're under that pressure to win.
Yeah.
YBA, we're lucky because our contract doesn't require that. Our contract is more about the numbers because we have so many kids in this club. Nike's just like, just make sure all like 500 of your kids are in our Nike shit. Like, you know, I mean, that's all they care about. Just put us in your gear. So, you know, we're not under that pressure. Of course, we want to win. Like you said, Bryce, you a competitor. I'm a competitor. We're all competitors. But no, poaching is a real thing, bro. And if you really have a kid who starts to truly stand out in your as you go through your club and your adventures. Yes, they'll be in their DMs, they'll be in their Snapchat. I can't tell you how many times my kids send me, oh, coach, this club is hitting me up, or this guy's DMing me, or this guy. You know, I tell them who your coach is. Like once they say my name, they typically like, oh, never mind, this motherfucker ain't. You know, they're like, oh, that's Chris. No, that's one of his kids. They not leaving. You know, and I'm like, but that's why I told you I try to build partnerships and network, because some of these people, and this is me speaking on my guy Marshall, who's the top 17U coach for the Oakland Soldiers. Okay. Oakland cat, born and raised like myself. Head coach at Alameda Junior College. He's a really good guy. He's in it for the right reasons. He wants to help young men be successful in life, very similar like what we're talking about. He is someone I will immediately make a phone call to about a kid that I think, you know, like, man, this kid's a little too good for my stage. Let's get him to this potential EYBL stage to where he can be on the, you know, and everyone knows that's like the top as far as AAU, you know, stage to be on. I'll make that phone call to him because I know he's in it for the right reasons. But you'll also learn there's a lot of cats that are in it for the wrong reasons. So, you know, it's just one of those things you kind of learn and go through.
Amen.
Crazy.
I wanted to do some quick shout outs before we close the show out. I want to do a shout out to One Vision for having my kids in Phoenix. I want to give a shout out to Lions team. Matt, you know, good job out there. I want to give a shout out to Coach Ballinger and the Reno Irish, even though you kicked my 17U's ass. You guys are a good group and you work hard. He let me coach. I actually coached his son for a couple years for me. So, you know, shout out to you guys. And you know, all the teams out there, keep doing your thing. The positive teams out there trying to do good by the kids and everything. Big shout outs to you guys. And obviously for you, Mark, starting up your own basketball program.
Appreciate it, man.
Can't wait to hear more stories and adventures for you. Bryce, thanks for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. This was awesome. I appreciate it.
Nah, man. Well, feel free to come back. Like Tet did a part 2. You're more than welcome to do a part 2.
Listen, I got stories for days. So just let me know.
And it's funny, we're not filming it. It's funny because I'm so used to seeing Ty.
I know.
And just so you guys who are listening, we're not filming this one. It's all audio because Ty had family stuff. and it's just feeling weird not having him in that corner because I'm so used to
So
seeing
much
it.
bigger in this room.
I know, but I would tie. But shout out to you, bro. You know, we miss you, man. We know you're always working hard for us. But everybody stay safe out there. You know, COVID is still a thing, so please protect yourself as much as possible. Take care of your family. And is there anything else? I'm trying to think. Are we good?
Yeah, we good.
All right, man. We are out.